the
Bats like them?
Bats?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
We
That's why
put
they
that
tell you to
house
put
up.
up that house. Yes, that's right.
It does help a little bit. Where'd she go? I say go live and she disappears.
sorry.
I wonder if I can turn that a little bit.
Can you start on our backs again today?
Yeah, nice pick.
You've been
Actually,
making me
yes,
start
we
on my
can
s-
do
my
that.
butt all
We
the
can.
time.
There we go. No. Oh, look, I can see Keely. All right. Okay. Yeah, so we'll start on our backs. Okay. So today is yoga for strength. We are working through the yama and niyama on the last one. This week's theme is surrender. So as you start to land on your mat, start to think about releasing and softening into the ground. So surrender, the topic of surrender, comes last. Some might think it's the easiest, but for many, this is one of the most difficult. Surrender was most challenging for me. And the wonderful thing about yoga is that it taught me to find surrender, softness in my physical body so that I could start to incorporate it in my life. So start to find softness. Feel the ground below you and start to feel support. Start to allow the ground to support you. And this seems like a no-brainer. We put our body on the ground and we let go and we lay on the ground and the ground's got us. But many people are still holding tension even when they're laying on the ground. So you look in, see your shoulders, see your low back, see your glute space, maybe even your thighs, your legs, maybe some tension in your feet. Check your hands and start to really let the ground hold you. Check your face, check your jaw. And pay attention to where perhaps you might have some common holding patterns. So where do you most often hold your tension? Maybe you know. Maybe you always feel a pinch between your shoulders and you're quite familiar with where you hold your tension. Maybe you're not sure yet. Maybe you're not that connected to your tension. Maybe it's oftentimes you can have like a whole body tightness and be completely unaware of it. So we take these moments to get to know it, to find where it is so that we can begin to release it. And we don't even need to cognitively release it. Once we tell our brain where it is, our whole body system starts to reset itself and can do it without even our conscious thought. And then we're going to bring our awareness to our breath. Start to slow your breath down as if you're trying to feel every part of your lung. So starting to feel the breath as it comes all the way down to the bottom of your lungs, and then feeling it as your lungs empty. Noticing what it feels like to have full lungs, and noticing what it feels like to have empty lungs. Getting familiar with any natural pauses in your breath. So where do you hold a pause? Maybe you don't. Starting to get to know. And then we're going to think about our stomach muscles. So begin to start to bring gentle movements to your knees and hips. If the feet are not down with knees up already, bring them to feet to the ground, knees up, and take a little side sway with the knees and hips. Just get everything in the low back nice and soft. Make sure there's no tension in your neck. Give your neck lots of space. So nice natural curve in your neck. Shoulders down on the ground. Press the rib cage down. Press the hips down. Start to see if you can find the deeper muscles within the stomach. And just actively feel this. If you have trouble locating the muscles, you can bring your hands to your stomach. Remind yourself where you're trying to connect to. So from here, lots of options. We can bring our knees above our hips and our feet even with our knees and hold here and just experience pressing our hips down into the ground, rib cage down into the ground. Or if you'd like to start to work here, you can use block or not block in between your lower legs. And we're going to start to straighten up our legs and then bring our knees back over our hips. So make this movement small so that you can really get to know that you're using these muscles deeper, closer to the spine, not the top muscles and not the back. Trying not to use the glutes. So try and have soft glutes. Press the hips down into the ground. Move with your breath. If you're taking lots of heat into the face, check in on where you're holding. Check in on whether you're holding your breath. Check in if you're pulling tension somewhere because these muscles are weaker. And then bring your knees in, give yourself a little hug. Place the feet back down, knees up, and we're going to think about the shoulders just a little bit. We're going to work the shoulders a lot today. So press the shoulders down into the ground, actively down into the ground. Which muscles did you use? So see if you can still have a soft low back. Press your shoulders down. See if you can have a softer neck. Keep pressing your shoulders into the ground. Press. So trying to find the muscles in behind the shoulders. With this active hold, take your hands towards the ceiling. So fingertips towards the ceiling. And we're going to lift our shoulders up and then press them down. So trying to think about only using our shoulders. Check in on your neck. Check in for pulling tension into your low back. Try to just move through the shoulders as if we're trying to find the muscles that make the smaller movements right in the shoulders. Bring your shoulders back down to the ground, not an active press, so just rest on the ground. Inhale, open arms towards the ground. Exhale, squeeze arms back. So now trying to take all the movement across the front of the chest. And again, checking your face, checking your neck, check your low back, even check your stomach. So try to keep this movement entirely in the chest. And try to be active, not just flopping the arms around. Move with your breath. Squeeze the arms back together. And then bring your arms back down, knees in towards the chest. A little hug. Roll on over to a side and come on up to a tabletop position. We're going to move with our breath here. So inhale, tabletop, exhale towards child's. Move with your breath. Connecting particularly with our shoulders because that's where a lot of our focus is going to be today. So starting to think about your shoulders, maybe moving around a little. Noticing what is present in your shoulders. Connecting to arms, chest, shoulders. Moving towards handstand prep work today. So really thinking about shoulders. And then take your hands a little bit further forward and we're going to work towards child's pose press up. So inhale, press up, exhale back to child's pose. So a little bend in the elbows, really trying to take this into the arms, chest, and shoulders. Watch for buckling. So watch for just hanging out in the joints. Take it slow. Make the movements smaller until you're sure that you're engaging your muscles. And then come to tabletop. This time, a little bit of pulling up out of the ground with your chest and arms. And we're going to take a little bit of freedom with the shoulders. So we're trying to move our shoulders in circles, little slow circles with a little bit of weight. So not all the weight on your arms, take a little bit back, but just a little bit of weight, trying to think about where you have holding patterns. Maybe you hear some creaks and groans. Take it slow, really paying attention, and then back the other way. And then slowly come forward all the way to your stomach, crocodile pose. One hand on top of the other, forehead down. So as you're in crocodile pose, I'm going to talk about surrender. So the theme of this entire class is surrender. This is a great surrender pose. What can you let go of? But also I invite you, because this is a yoga for strength class, to surrender to what is present. So don't push, don't grasp. Find what is present in your own physical body and take breaks when you need them. So we buckle when we're tired. We start to hang out in the joints, buckle. And we start to be unable to breathe evenly. So notice these things and surrender to where your strength is. Learn where you are at and take breaks when you need it. So child's pose, crocodile pose is always available to you. Or maybe you just need a quick breath reset and then start over. So from this pose, start to fire up the muscles of the back, and we're going to inhale, lift the shoulders. Exhale, lower. Hands are wherever is comfortable for balance. So start to really try and lift shoulders and get longer from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Moving with your breath. Trying to find if there are locations that are squeezing tighter than others. So glutes are a big muscle group. Maybe you're squeezing your glutes so tight that your lower back is getting cramped. So make space and try to use the muscle groups evenly. And then back down to crocodile pose. Surrender. What can you let go of? Where can you find tension that you can soften? Slowly press back to child's pose. And then up to down dog. Warming up your down dog in whatever way feels right for you. Swaying the hips, pedaling out the legs. And then find the stillness of down dogs, really pulling your hips up out of the ground. So really pushing your hips high. Take the weight out of your wrists. So you pull from the ground up. Soften the neck. Take your hands a little bit wider, perhaps mat distance apart. Hold here. A little soft bend in your knees just to help you. And we're going to do push-ups here. So we bend our elbows and allow the crown of the head to come towards the ground and then back. Small, tiny, controlled movements. Not a lot of movement in the hips. Keep your legs and hips stable. Make sure you're breathing. And then back to regular down dog. Slowly, mindfully place your hands back. Bend the knees, look towards the hands, and either float forward or step forward, forward fold. let go. And this is another pose to get to know your own body shape. So maybe you need to make more space for your lower back and let your stomach find your thighs. Big bend in your knees. Try to let the tension out of your neck. Breathe. Inhale, rise up, arms overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart. A couple of times, connect to your breath. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart. And then bring your prayer to heart. Hold. And check in. Soften toes, knees, low back, glutes, shoulders and face. Maybe even close your eyes for a moment. Find your surrender on your 2 feet. And then we'll warm up a little more whole body. So arms up overhead. Inhale in this, exhale, sink a little towards a chair shape. Inhale, exhale. So rather than thinking about going super, super low and getting to your extreme chair position, think about lengthening inhale and exhale as you pull down, muscles all active. The smaller movement is just as effective as long as you're connecting to the muscle groups. Imagine you're pulling your knees apart and squeezing them in together, so both outside and inside legs strong. If shoulders are tight, you can take your arms out to the sides. You can bring them to your hips. Try to find the legs. And then sink it down to chair and hold. So hold here, soft low back, strong legs. We're going to peel up one heel at a time, so maybe you need to adjust and bring your hips up a little higher. One heel at a time without moving the hips, nice and slow and controlled. Trying to find the muscles of our legs. We peel the heel up and we peel it back down nice and slow, and it doesn't matter how high the heel comes, just trying to find the muscles of the legs. And then balance challenge. Sit in your chair, weight onto the left leg, try not to wobble too much, heel up, right heel. We're going to bring the knee up and ankle just above the knee. See if you can sink it down a little more. Balance and breathe. Both legs active. So right leg still strong. Breathe. Try to slowly unwind, replace the right foot, and go straight to the left side. So lift up left foot, cross it over, sink down. Breathe. Slowly unwind, place the foot. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart, find your base. This time inhale up, exhale, swan dive it down, forward fold. Release, surrender. Let go of what is held in the neck and shoulders. Imagine you could let all of the things you carry on your shoulders fall to the ground. Place your hands down on the ground and step back to high plank. If you are using the chair with us, get your feet close to the chair and make sure your chair is on the mat so it's not going to move and slip. So holding a plank. If you are not doing planks, Sherry in the back is on her knees. I'm going to show you alternatives. So holding a plank, starting to feel your shoulders. This is buckling. This is strong and active in my shoulders. So know where you're at. Wiggle your feet close to the chair. Slowly take both feet onto the chair. Hold here. Breathe strong. Now we're going to take small movements if we're on the ground with our shoulders, so little push-up shapes. Or if you're on the chair, you're going to pull your hips to a down dog shape and then back. So coming towards a handstand shape, building our shoulders, slow and controlled. Move with your breath. Take breaks when you need to. Slowly pulling our hips up, coming to a handstand shape. Come to plank, see if you can hold it a little longer. If you're on the ground, maybe hover your knees. Slowly step down off the chair. Child's pose, reset, surrender. Slowly back to down dog. Find a nice steady base. Inhale, lift right leg. Watch for your chair. Step through, low lunge. Move and breathe here. So inhale forward. Exhale towards straight with the right leg, using your blocks if you have them. So taking a little break on the shoulders, focusing in on the legs. Ungrip the right toes. Find the muscles in your legs. Find the muscles in your hips. Find a steady low lunge, pulling up all the way to the right hip, lifting up off your thigh. Hold here, nice and strong, both legs. Inhale, rise up, high lunge. Hold, nice, steady base. Breathe, soft face, soft low back. Hands to prayer, all the focus in on our legs. Bring the torso a little bit forward and open up this back leg, nice and slow, so that we come to wide legs. So we're going to move through our hips, opening up our hips. Mindful, slow as we do these movements. We want the focus in on the legs, not in the sacrum, not in the low back. So we're going to bend the right knee, bring the torso around in a circle, bend the left knee, and then back up, go the other way. So just thinking about opening up the legs, nice and slow. Trying to feel the muscles in the legs that make these movements in our hips happen. Maybe starting to press down. So as you come to the right side, you press down on the left, open up a little more. And then bring up to center, bent legs, pressing your hands down into your legs. So as you do this, press your legs back into your hands. So when we push forces, push opposite. Hands down, legs back. And we're going to take our shoulders nice and slow towards center. Inhale, middle. Exhale, center with the shoulders. So make this movement in the shoulders, mindful that it's coming from the low back. Start to really feel your shoulders. Create some freedom. Pay attention to the legs. They should be burning. They should be holding you, supporting you, pushing you up out of the ground. Come to neutral. Straighten up the legs. Feet parallel and give the legs a little shake. Let go. Surrender. What can you surrender in these muscles? Feet back pointing out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, draw back down to goddess. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Arms can stay out. Arms can lift and come back to prayer, or any other shape and variation that you feel is helpful to you. Move with your breath. Find your inner thighs. Don't let the glutes cheat and do all the work. Ungrip the toes. Soften the face. Hold, goddess. Option to stay here or to peel one heel up at a time, nice and slow, working with the legs. Watch for the hips. Keep the hips neutral. Don't let the glutes do all the work. Peel from the bottom of your legs. So peel the heel up. Press the heel down. Find the legs. Straighten up the legs. We're going to pivot on the back foot, bend the right. So turn the right foot out, pivot on the back, slowly come to high lunge. So mindful with those movements that they come from the legs and not the sacrum space. So pivoting on the foot, bending the knee, make sure you're using the legs to come forward. Hold. Can you find a little more space in your low back? Lengthen in the torso. Enjoy the break. We're going back to shoulders. So torso forward, slowly place your hands on the ground and make a decision for where you would like to be. So get your feet close to your chair or stay down, tabletop version. So stepping up, chair plank if you're coming this far. We're working towards handstand prep, so we're trying to build strength in the shoulders. Pull up out of the ground, holding your plank nice and strong. And we're going to shoulder tap. So slow, mindful, careful movement. Take the left hand to the right shoulder, place it down, right hand to left shoulder. So things to watch for. It's easier for me to talk if I'm not on the chair. This shoulder, as you take the left hand to the right shoulder, this right shoulder should be very strong and active. It should be pulling itself up out of the ground. So nice, strong movements in the shoulder. If you're not used to this movement, take it from a tabletop position first. If you're on the chair, step down and slowly make your way to a choice, crocodile or child's pose, whichever you find is easier to surrender in. So all the way down or child's pose. Try and get your shoulders soft, soft, soft. So what can you release from your shoulders? We're working them. We're finding what it feels like to feel tension in the muscle. So let's find the opposite. What is softness? Wherever you're at, slowly make your way to child's pose, to tabletop, and then to down dog. Taking your time to mindfully move through the movements and feel and experience the poses. Find your breath in down dog. Turn your world upside down. If you have your chair nearby, take a little step forward with your hands and feet so you're not going to hit your chair. We're going to inhale, lift left leg. Exhale, step through low lunge. Find your blocks, move with your breath. Inhale, bent leg. Exhale, left leg towards straight. Taking a break with your shoulders. So nice soft shoulders. Let the tension go. Focus on the legs. Hold a steady, steady, steady low lunge. Really focus on pulling up out of the ground all the way to the left glute. Long torso. Strong right leg. Breathe. Inhale, rise up, high lunge. And hold, find a steady foundation. Active press of the arms up. Strong shoulders, strong arms. Soft face. Hands to prayer. Hold here. And this time we're going to come forward, step forward. Mountain pose. Slow with control. And then step open with the left leg so that we can face you. So stepping open, wide legs. Find your base first. So strong legs, as if you're trying to push the mat apart, rip it apart with your feet. Strong, strong legs. Slowly sink down, goddess pose, active legs. We're going to bring our torso a little bit forward, and it can be helpful to rest your hands on your hips. Torso forward. We're going to bring our weight over onto the right leg with control. So watch this knee, muscles strong, not just flopping into the joint. Back through center and then over to the other side. As you start to get the hang of it, maybe you start to move a little more freely, peeling up the heel. As long as you know you're working with your legs. You're finding the stabilizer muscles. Don't let the low back twist and turn and take all the work. Soften the face. Maybe you feel a nice stretch on the inner thigh and you want to hang out here with little pulses, or maybe you want to keep moving. Make some choices. Make the practice your own. So what do you hold and where do you hold it? Get to know what's inside. And then bring the torso up, legs straight, feet parallel, shake it out. This time we're going to turn the other way. So left foot turns, you're going to pivot on the back foot using inner thighs, not low back. Come slowly to high lunge. Find your high lunge. Hold it strong. You're going to pick up the shoulders, steady legs, pick up the shoulders and bring them down. Pick up and bring them down. Trying to soften, trying to move. Bring your hands back to prayer. Hold. Lengthen through the back leg, soften through the low back. And then we're going to forward. If you have the chair, hands on chair. And you're going to step left leg back to right. So plank the other way. Your arms are on the chair. You can hold outside of the chair if it feels more stable. So hold. A little soft bend of the elbows. So with this, we want to feel like we're pulling the elbows together and then a little soft bend at the elbows for a different shape, a different strength in your shoulders. Strong everywhere else. Watch for tension in the neck and face. And then wherever you're at, slowly lower the knees. We're going to bring the back of the elbow, so not on the elbow joint, behind the elbow onto the chair. So both here, set up first. So hands can be wherever hands are comfortable. Many people like to bring them up to their shoulders. Some people like to hold their head gently. Wherever you're comfortable, want to focus on pulling back from the elbow and resting. So sink the hips until you feel the back of your arms. Take the tension out of your neck. So this is a form of surrender too. Breathing into a lengthening in the back of your arms. Loosen. And paying attention, where are you loosening? Are you hanging out in a joint? Or are you focusing your attention to the muscle group? Breathe. Slowly lift the torso up. Place the hands down on the ground, far away from the chair. Step back, tabletop. Tuck the toes, down dog. Let go and notice the shoulders. Notice how they feel. Bend the knees and either float forward or step forward. Forward fold.
It's scary.
Forward fold. Mindfully don't hit the chair. Inhale, rise up all the way up, arms overhead. Exhale, part to heart. Now find surrender in mountain pose. Maybe close your eyes. Invitation to close the eyes. Loosen the toes. Loosen the inner thighs. Loosen the low back, the glutes, the hip flexors, so these muscles in front of your hips. See if you can stand on your own 2 feet, allowing the muscles to gently hold you stable. So just notice as we stand on our feet, there's lots of little micro adjustments that happen to keep us balanced. See if you can feel them. See if you can become so quiet that you can connect to these adjustments without super strong tension and holding while you stand. If the eyes are closed, slowly soften them open. We're going to use our chair to balance. So left foot forward towards the chair, right foot steps open to warrior 2 shape. Look at your chair. Lengthen into warrior 2. Left hand is going to come forward onto the chair. Nice and strong in the legs first. Bring all the focus to the legs and then bring some focus into the stabilizer muscles. These oblique this is oblique space. Pull the right leg up, come to half moon. Pull it up nice and strong. Leg active, press through the heel. Use the chair not to sink into that shoulder, but as a balance. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Maybe lift the right arm, maybe tuck it behind you if that's more comfortable. Hold here, strong through the right leg. Peel the heel towards the glute, and then back. Slow, with control. See if you can squeeze the leg towards the glute. And then option for a bind. See if you can catch the foot. Again, check you're not sinking into the left shoulder. If you catch the foot, press into the hand. Breathe. If you have the foot, slowly and with control, release it. Half moon, I was going to say warrior 2. Slow as you can, float the right leg back. Warrior 2. Pivot on the back foot, use the inner legs. Come forward, and then step forward. Connect to your breath. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, part heart. to the other side. So you're going to step the left foot back, come to warrior two. We're going to switch our chairs so we're not facing you backwards. So this time, other side. Find your warrior two first, nice and strong. Strong legs, really pulling yourself up out of the ground. Strong torso, and if it helps, you can place your left hand between the rib cage and the hip so you know to use these muscles. Look at your chair, right hand to chair. Peel left leg up, peel it up. Strong leg, lengthen, press through the heel. Chair is just for balance, don't sink into the shoulder. Maybe left hand lifts, maybe it tucks behind the hip. Options. Peel the left heel towards the glute and slowly back. Maybe catch the foot, option for bind. Grab the foot, press the hand into the foot into the hand. Watch for sinking into the right shoulder. Slowly release the foot. Slowly lower down your two legs. Step forward, mounted pose. And we're going to turn to look at you because this is going to look weird if we don't. We're going to loosen and surrender. So let go in an active pose. So start to shake the arms out. Start to think about getting really loose and soft. Start to shake the shoulders and the arms, and then start to shake hips, knees, and then a little rebounds. So start to really loosen, soften. Think about 2-year-olds when they're having a tantrum. You stomp their feet, ground their feet. Let go, loosen, ground, find the ground below you. What can you let go of? Shake it out. There's that kid's song, shake, shake, shake the sillies out. Get it out.
Okay, I thought you were talking about yogi shake.
And then come to mountain pose. Inhale up. Bring your prayer to heart. Invitation to close the eyes. Notice what is present. Maybe some energy moving. Maybe some emotions moving. Can you do that softness check-in? Soft knees, soft toes, soft low back, shoulders, face. And then a little congratulations to yourself, a little gratitude, all the hard work is done. We're going to inhale, arms overhead, exhale, forward fold. Let go. Notice what is different from our first forward fold. Slowly sink the hips and come to a seated position. So land on your hips for a moment. And just feel what is present. Try to get even on the hips. Try to feel the shoulders. We're going to take little soft circles with the shoulders just to make sure we loosen. Anything we brought into the shoulders, we work them hard. So little soft circles. And then opposite directions, one at a time. And then pick them up, squeeze them towards the ears, and drop them. Pick them up, drop them. Try to let it go. Soften the shoulders. You can continue with this exercise, or if you know you tend to hold your tension between the shoulder blades, we're going to intentionally squeeze the shoulder blades as hard as we can together, and then drop them. Squeeze and drop them. Just mindful of what's going on in the low back, maybe a little attention in your torso. So either up and down or squeeze. Where do you hold your pinch point in your shoulders? Take the right arm out. We're going to bring it across the torso. We're going to press left hand into the forearm and press the forearm back. Pull the shoulder back so you're actively pulling into the shoulder, trying to feel some muscle release. Watch for tension in the neck, low back. Take it loose, switch sides, left arm out, cross, right arm touches forearm, press hand into forearm, forearm into hand, and then you can pull the shoulder back. Breathe. We're going to slowly come on down to our backs. If you are going to use the chair for your resting pose, make sure that you have it close by so that you can put your legs up on it. Having your feet above your heart is wonderfully good for you, so if you prefer to have that for your resting pose today, go ahead and keep your hips nice and close to the chair as you come down. So find yourself on the ground first. One last stretch just to make sure we let go of some tension in the glutes. So find your hips on the ground and then take right knee over left and bring the knees in towards the chest. Have an active pull of your feet. So pull your feet first with your muscles towards your opposite shoulders and then rest your hands. Breathe in to the right glute piriformis space. And if you're having trouble finding it, you can actively imagine pushing your right sits bones away from you while pulling your feet, not with your hands, with your muscles towards your shoulders. Breathe into this space. Really imagine letting it go. Slowly unravel. Roll up. Left knee over right. Do the opposite side. Feet to opposite shoulders. Left glute space. Breathe into it. There's that surrender again. Can you find muscle warmth and without yanking into it and pulling to its furthest extent, can you find that space and then breathe in softness? Slowly unravel. Option to take your feet up on the chair and rest into this. So just a couple of things if you're going to take your feet onto the chair. Wiggle around and make sure you're not overly yanking on your low back. So have your hips even. Check in on your low back. Make sure it's nice and soft. Check in on your natural curves. If your hips are particularly open and you have a tendency to flop your knees open like this, you can place something between your foot and the chair. My legs are short, it's hard for me to do this. So that your foot and your leg know where to stop. So not pushing into common holding patterns. We're trying to find release here. Starting to find yourself on the ground. So your resting pose is surrender. This is where you let go. So for me, this part of the practice was the hardest. For many, many, many years, I cheated myself out of this part of the practice. If the class was busy enough, I would just get up and sneak out. I was always at the back of the class. So I'd get up, sneak out, hope the teacher didn't notice. I'm sure she did, but I tried. so many little games I used to play to get out of this pose because it literally was the hardest for me. So this is surrender. This is physical surrender. And when we physically surrender, when we tire our muscles out and we land on the ground, guess what often pops up? Our ego, our mind, our cognitive head, all these little voices that start spinning around. When we're physically busy, it's so much easier to not be in a banter with our cognitive head. So this is where the challenge begins. And it's not that you need to wrestle the cognitive head and make it quiet. It's that you practice focusing through the other layers and getting softer, 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 and drawing your attention away from what's going on up there. So as we lay in a surrender pose, particularly if your feet are up on the chair, it can be helpful just to start in the physical layer of the human existence. So start at the soles of your feet. Can you make your feet softer, softer, softer? Can you make your ankles, your knees, your hips softer? Can you feel the ground below you and allow the bone, this big heavy bone at the base of our spine, these hips are heavy. Can we allow it to be supported by the ground, not our muscles? And then as we come up from the hips, we have all these muscles that protect our spine, and we have these muscles that help our breath. These muscles are the first to squeeze in and tighten when we're in fight or flight. So can we start to soften around our breath? Maybe even take the time to cognitively say to ourselves right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. Knowing that when we're fast asleep, our breath still happens. Can we get to that space where we're loosening control, softening, letting go? And then we think about our skull being on the ground, another heavy bone at the other end of our spine. And think of all of the muscles that hold our head up. Muscles in our shoulders, the muscles in our chest, and all the muscles that are affected by this. So muscles around our jaw, maybe we even continue the tension into our face. Soften, soften, soften. And then ungrip around the thoughts. Soften the mind. Perhaps becoming so still and so soft that you can start to find the sound of your own heartbeat. Noticing the tendency of the mind to still want to be in control. Perhaps you find the sound of your heartbeat when a thought pops in, "Ooh, I found it," and then you have to begin again. you have the time to take practicing, noticing when your mind pulls you off the mat and beginning again, softening from the toes. Take all the time that you need. If you need to finish up at the 60-minute mark, you're going to start to bring a little awareness to the physical body. Wiggle the toes. If your legs are on the chair, bring some warmth to your hands and then some warmth to your legs first. So really warm up the space. Bring a little circulation into your legs. And then gently pull your knees in towards your chest and roll on over into a fetal position, taking your time slowly. Curling up in a ball. And for another moment, thinking about surrender. So surrender does not need to be pretending everything is rosy. It does not need to be that you do not get affected when things are perhaps unpleasant or not going well. Surrender is letting go of the battle. So getting to know yourself so well that you can feel when things are overwhelming, and you know more quickly when you need to take a little break, when you need to come to whatever familiar ritual, familiar pattern helps you let go and reset and recharge. It's not that you start walking around throwing rainbows and roses and pretending everything is always perfect. It's not that you're never affected by things. It's that you begin to get so strong that you know when things are getting too much and that you need to reset. You have the tools. You have the tools to reset. You have the tools to let go. You have the tools to step back from the chaos and recharge. So taking your time, coming back to a seated position, hands of prayer at heart space. And taking a moment to connect to your left and right sides, meeting in front of your heart. Connect to this gesture of being whole and complete, precisely as you are, and accepting yourself precisely as you are. Honor your inner wisdom. Honor the path that you're on. And then take one hand over your heart center and the other hand on top and connect to the warmth of your hands. Feel your breath as it moves your hands. Take this familiar pattern as if it's a grounding pattern, a helpful tool for reminding yourself to recharge and look within. Draw down from the thoughts, away from the ego, away from the emotion. Look within to the bliss layer, our wisdom layer. May all beings be peaceful and at ease. Thank you so much for joining us.